We are less than a month away from voters in Tulsa deciding on the Improve Our Tulsa package.
Now, the city is also getting ready to start the next phase of excavations and search for graves connected to the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. We have a lot to talk about today, so once again, Tulsa Mayor G.T. Bynum is with us. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Let's
get started right off the bat with an update on the lawsuit that was filed last week. I know that it's been dismissed by the judge, and I know it's still, in the process of being litigated. What is your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a little limited in what I can say because the plaintiffs have announced that they are going to appeal, but I think it's really important for Tulsans to understand that for us as a city, at least, the basis of this is that the citizens of Tulsa have benefited from the aftermath of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, and I completely disagree with that. I think that Tulsa is much worse off because of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. I think all Tulsans are worse off. I can't imagine how much better a city we would be if over the last century we had been home to the most vibrant African-American economy in the country. And so the judge dismissed the lawsuit, but we'll see what happens on appeal.
And the city is getting ready for that next phase in the search for graves possibly connected to the Tulsa Race Massacre. A test excavation is going to be happening at Oaklawn Cemetery tomorrow and Friday. What can you tell us about this next phase, what folks need to know?
Well, I think it's really important that Tulsans understand that that lawsuit aside, there is so much going on in our community right now to try and make Tulsa a city that both tries to do everything we can to understand what happened in 1921, but also build a city where everyone has an equal opportunity for a great life. And the graves search that we're doing right now should have been done 100 years ago. It wasn't. It falls to this generation of Tulsans to try and find the victims of the race massacre that were buried without their family ever knowing where they were buried. And we have documentary evidence that there are 18 race massacre victims buried somewhere in Oaklawn Cemetery at 11th and Peoria by downtown. We just don't know where in the cemetery they're buried. And so the Oklahoma Archaeological Survey and a team that we've assembled from around the country of experts are continuing and have over the last 3 years, and will again on Friday, do what's called a test excavation. And that is where they dig down a bit, but not fully, and they don't remove any remains that they might happen to find. They're just going to dig down in the ground a little bit to try and get a better understanding of what's down there. This will be, I think at this point, the fourth one of these that we've done trying to find these race massacre victims. And it is so important for our community that we be able to identify the remains of these victims and connect them with their descendants so that they can have a proper burial. That's what any of us would want for our family members, and we want to do right by these victims.
Sure. July 1st, the start of the new fiscal year for the city. I know that there's been some kind of reorganization going on. Talk to us a little bit about that, some of the changes that could impact Tulsans.
Yes, so we recognize that there were a lot of things that just historically we as a city government were just assuming that's just the way things are done, and they were in silos. A great example would be street construction, where citizens weren't necessarily involved in the planning of what streets would look like in their neighborhood. And the people that did the planning on those were different from the people who did the engineering work. The people who did the engineering work were different from the people who did the construction. And so you had all these different silos. What we've done is created a Department of Public Works that brings all of that work into one department, and then a Department of City Experience. And the idea there is we want citizens to be more engaged in and have opportunities to decide what their city looks like and pair them up with experienced urban planners and city designers, so that when we do a project, whether it's a street project or a playground, that the citizens of Tulsa ought to be delighted with the end product. With what you're paying for it, you ought to be really excited with it, not just, oh, thank goodness it's over with now. And so these two new departments, we believe, are going to make this work much more accessible to citizens and give them the connectivity with experts that I think Tulsans need to be able to shape the city in the way they want it to be for the next 100 years.
Before we let you go, Mayor, we do want to talk about Improve Our Tulsa. Go to the polls. August 8th is Election Day. Sales tax extension, $772 million. We've been over the details, the zoo, police, fire headquarters, Tulsa PAC. How are you feeling now, just about a month out?
Well, we feel good about it because it's a common sense thing. This is just maintaining our current level of taxation for 4 more years to maintain things that the citizens of Tulsa have already paid for. Our roads, buying our police officers and firefighters vehicles that they can rely on for emergency responses, maintaining parks and city buildings. It is a very basic bread and butter program, and we're very hopeful that the citizens of Tulsa will approve it so that we can maintain the things that the citizens own.
Mr. Mayor, thank you as always. We appreciate you visiting each month. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.